All right, so we're going to tell you a little story today. Hopefully, we'll keep it under 30 minutes because we like to go short now and then. But I wanted to tell you a little story about how we find super committed and obsessed people to help us build. And this is a story really of how we found Vicki and how we basically ran into each other. So one day, many years ago, I advertised a gig at a Days Inn. And it kind of looked like this. It was in Northern California, and I ran newspaper ads. Today, I would run probably the same ad. In fact, Vic and I are thinking of doing an experimental, kind of a secret experimental deal, build something where really nobody knows anything about it, and just build it to the top in 90 days and see how fast we can do it, get to the top of the pay plan. We'll probably do it exactly the same way, except it's online, right? But I went to the Days Inn because in those days, that's what you did. You know, you go, that's like my second meeting or something. And 5 people showed up. And because at the time, I didn't know how many people I should expect to come. Usually what you do, if you run a meeting, you get a room with like, I don't know, 15, 20, 30 seats or something. And then if you're smart, you only set up a few seats, like maybe 15 or 20, and you have put the rest in the back so that there's not a lot of empty space. Well, there were so few people who came to this particular event that I ran the ad for. There were only 5 people. So I changed the room and got myself, instead of this, a bigger room, I got myself a little suite. It kind of looked like this. And I think Vic, you remember, didn't it kind of look like this? And I had closed the drapes, set up in the back there, right? That table where my overhead projector was. And this was what it felt like. And there were like 5 people in there and me sitting over there on the left with the drapes closed. And I wanted it to feel intimate. Now, this is one of the things that you want to know. If you're going to do a meeting, whether it's Zoom or whether it's actually live, you want to have a space that makes people feel intimate and close together. You don't want to have 20 seats and 3 people. This is not good. So if you see that, get rid of all the seats and just get your 3 or get a really small space. So it would be intimate, just like this. That worked just fine. And what I had done, I had written an ad and I was recruiting for a key person in the ad. And for me, I had a second business. This was my second time around. The first one was the water filter business. And this one was fruits and veggies in capsules. That was the product that I sold. And I was really hot on it. I thought, this is going to be a great way for people who don't get enough fruits and veggies to get them. They won't be exactly the same, but it's pretty close. You get the nutrients. So I was big on that because I was a big health person already. I've always been interested in health, my physical health, mental health, all of it. I want to have a lot of energy. When I'm 95, I'm going to beat somebody at tennis who's 60, right? Love sets, boom, right? So that's what I was doing. And I had run this ad seeking a key person for my Northern California area. That's what I had done. And so one of the folks there that day was Vic. She showed up. And she had some very interesting reasons for showing up. And before she tells you what they are, I want to just make a little distinction for folks here. There are 2 kinds, well, there are a lot of kind of wants, but the 2 we're going to talk about today are what we call urgent wants, right? Like right now, this afternoon, within 24 hours, 72 hours, I need to have this and that within a few days, right? We're calling that an urgent want, okay? An urgent want is something that makes us consider alternative options. Does everybody get that? So an urgent want is something that makes you consider alternative options. So say your kid gets in a fight at school for the 3rd day in a row. What would you consider if you're a mom? Well, maybe my kid should go to another school, or maybe I should go over there and beat the crap out of the kid or the teacher, or something ought to happen. This is called an urgent want. And we start considering alternative options. Has everybody got that? Let me say yes. Say why in the chat box so I can be sure. And then in the Facebook group. Have we got it? Say yep. Yes. All right. So here's what I'm going to go through right now. This was Vic's situation that I didn't know. And I'm going to show you now because she's going to tell you what her urgent wants were when she came to that meeting. When somebody comes to a meeting, like a Zoom meeting like this, some of you know me already, some of you know Vic already, but some of you don't really know very much about us. And you're kind of either bored or you're looking for some new way to get your business off the ground so you can make some of that money that you've been promising your relatives and your kids and your whoever that you're going to earn with this. So you're looking at, is there some way to make that I can make myself do this, right? So I had this meeting and Vic came, and her situation at that time that you came to the meeting, what was your situation? Where were you living, right?
I was living in a trailer park. I like to call it mobile home park. It sounds better, but it was trailer park with two little kids. And I had a 3-day notice on the door.
3-day notice. Whoop. Let's see here.
You know, one of those pink slips. Get out.
Okay. So like one of these.
Yep, I got one of those.
Okay. See, I just put that on this one right here. Right here.
So I ripped that off and hid it because I didn't want my kids to see it or know about it. My husband was unemployed and we had left the ministry, youth ministry, and we had run out of time and resources. So
what else happened to him? Did he lost 20 grand or something?
He lost. So I told this to Kim just yesterday. After all these years, I never told her this part. He was in a few bad networking deals, and I mean bad because one of them went belly up. He had made 20 grand, was waiting to be paid, was doing great, and the company folded. So here we are. We had this money coming, and then it wasn't coming. So that was our savior money. It was gone. So lost. And we had run out of time.
Okay, so you had no more time.
No more time.
And what else?
So I find this ad in a newspaper. I'm looking for something for him, because I'm trying to take care of the kids, right? I can't pay for daycare right now. I see this ad, looking something to do with expanding in the Bay Area where we live, where Kim lived at the time. Key person with a specific thing that sounded interesting to me, but I didn't say anything about network marketing, but I was afraid maybe it was a scammy thing and I didn't have any time to get into any more scammy things. So instead of sending him to that place at the day's end to hear about it, I felt that I had better antennas sticking out for scammy things. So I said, no, I'm going to go check it out because I don't want you getting in another bad deal. So I went.
Okay, so you notice so far, can you see all this story about somebody who came to an event and that many people that come to your, if you were to run an ad, an interesting ad, or make an interesting post, right? Or something on Instagram, if you were to do that, you have no idea what the people who are checking you out are coming with. Does this make sense? I want to be sure that we get this because I'm really very curious to see. What I want you to pay attention to is the story of the person who came. It happened to be Vicky, but all of you, whenever you put out something, if this were the kind of person who was looking, do you really have something for this kind of person? Or are you just yourself a here today and gone tomorrow type of person? Now, you might get somebody looking who's just looking because they're bored, which is what most people kind of do, you know. Oh, I'm kind of bored. What have you got? But you see, this is a whole description. This whole story is a description of how many would like to have a person like this looking at their business. Just pretend you don't know anything about Vicky. Living in a trailer park. That doesn't sound good. That's a loser. 3-day notice, loser, right? However, desperate. If you got a 3-day notice, if you got any hustle, now's the time you got to hustle. It's now or never, right? Hid the notice from the kids. Good sign. Pride. Personal pride. You've got to have personal pride if you're going to make it. The hubby unemployed. What else is new, right? He lost some money, had a chance to have some money. And we kind of know that story, right? The mom is there and there's no more time and she's looking. And then she says, I went to check it out first. Why? To be sure it wasn't a scam. Notice what a different level of person this is than somebody who goes to look for anything and would drive a garbage truck to make something. You probably would, but it's not long term. But if you're going to check it out, even though you're in this state, let me make sure it's not a scam. Is this a good thing or a bad thing? Let me see. G or B? Let me see in the group.
G.
Yeah, good. You've got it. Right? How do you make sure it's not a scam? You could run a post like that. How would you know a deal is not a scam? Anybody who responds is somebody who's interested in knowing it's not a scam. That means they probably want to do something real. See, this is where you pull your ads, right here. Who you want and who you don't want. Does that make sense? I'm just throwing you a little tip here. This is how one does this. If your brains are screwed in, this was the first meeting that she ever came to, right? That and you know, we didn't know half the stuff till later, but there she was, right? So you went to check it out first. So you went to check it out, and then what happened in the meeting? There you are. Here I am. There's like 4 or 5 other people there. Why don't you tell how you reacted to what you heard? Remember, this business I was talking about was fruits and veggies in capsules. So I had some little overhead slides, and I was there to, you know, make my case that we're looking for people who want to help us spread the word about this. That's how I present anything. That's what we're looking for. And here's why we want to spread the word about this thing. People aren't getting enough. They're not healthy. And we want people who don't have time to cook, to have some way to get at least some of it. Because people that are healthier are happier, and happy people don't make trouble. We want to spread the word about it. That was basically my pitch. Does everybody got to say yes? I got it. Yep. That's the pitch. She didn't even know what the product was, right? What it was. The company. We didn't mention, you know, I don't bother with that because the mission is more important to me, the mission. Right. So so I made a little presentation, and then Vic, what were the processes that you went through in your mind?
Well, several things. First of all, I didn't know what the company was. I had no clue, except you in front of the room doing your presentation, which got me so intrigued because I was already somebody that was into that fruits and veggie kind of thing. I was schlepping fruits and veggies home and juicing them every day because I had
She was a juicer.
I was a juicer. I was blowing juicers up. I was investing in the best juicers when I could, and I knew what the cost of juicing was, and I know how much time and effort it took to do it, and I was feeding it to one kid who had a lot of issues. So when I heard, what? You can put little fruit and veggie nutrients in a capsule, and when I added up what she was saying, I was imagining how much I'm spending and then my time and energy. And I thought, what? That's crazy. Of course, the presentation, Kim being Kim, full of flavor, I just was enamored. I thought, she's going to be my teacher. By the end of it, I had picked her. But here I am with no money. No money. What am I thinking? I had no idea because there was no banners, no company stuff, not even a bottle of the stuff sitting there until she pulled it out to show you. But I couldn't read
at the end. Notice what she says. I didn't know the company name, but I was a big time juicer already, spending a lot of time and energy. What does that tell you? Why was she a match? Was it because I persuaded her? Or was it because she was already a big time juicer? Which one? Did I persuade her? Or did she already come with, she already loved all this stuff? You tell me.
She came in loving it. That's what it said. That's true.
Right? She came in loving the idea of a lot of fruits and veggies, and wasn't just idle chatter. She had bought juicers. She bought all this fruit and veggie crap that I have seen. I mean, I would never do all that work. Somebody else is going to do it for me. And then I'm going to get the juice. I'm just one of those types, right? But I'll do other things people don't do, like reach out, talk to people. She had the right values. We shared values. I just had an easier way to do it. Then she said, and I want her to be my teacher. When you think about doing a presentation, has it ever occurred to you that if somebody says about you, say somebody says, Larry, your presentation, I want you to be my teacher about the content and about how to build a business like this. How would you feel about that person feeling this about you? They're not saying, I want the company to be my teacher. No, I want you, Larry. I want you, Johnny. I want you, Ken, you. I want you to be my teacher. How would you like to be able to present so that people say that about you? Let me see yes or no in the chat.
Yes.
Tell me. Because if they're not doing that now, you're cooked. You know, because the network marketing arrangement is almost like a marriage. If you're any good, you know, you could be a good polygamist, get you 3, 4, 5 people. And this was a recruiting business. I mean, I was at this moment recruiting a key player. How many key players did I ask for? Who remembers? Did I say as many as possible? Did I say 10 people? Did I say a dozen? How many did I say? 1. And all 5 people in that room wanted to be that one. And guess who was the one in the end? A key player. It makes the good people go crazy. It's going to be me. It's going to be me. I'm going to be the one. I'm going to be. You got to learn how to do this, particularly if you're going to recruit. You want the bosses. That means that you have to ask who wants to be the boss. That's it. See? So she said, so that if somebody feels like, well, I want to follow you, what you're doing is what I want to do. What you're doing to people, I want to do that to people. I want people to love me the way I want them to follow me the way they follow you. That is how you present, whether it's Zoom, whether it's a message, whether it's email, doesn't make any difference what it is. Either they're going to say this or not, and you can learn it. You want to learn it? Y or N? Let me hear. Make sure you're awake. This is how you get the really good people. And they stick. You're going to get a few flakes. Jesus did too. I'll tell you what, he's doing all right today. He's doing all right today. So she's going to be my teacher. Okay, and then what happened next?
Well, I was a little concerned because I didn't want to tell Kim I had nothing. But I wanted to be her key person.
Had nothing.
How am I going to go ask this person that's smart and educated and has presented so well and is fit, tennis player, and has the same values, but I have no money. So how am I going to invest in this? And I'm shy, but when I want something, I will go negotiate. And so I did, because I didn't have any time to go get all introverted about my situation. I had to speak up. So I approached her after. We had a conversation. I said, would you mind if I post-date a check for this product, for some of this product, because I know I can get rid of it within 24 hours or I can sell it off. And she looks me up and down. You know, she's checking me out. Kim. She's looking me up and down. Who is this person? She doesn't know me. And I don't know why, but she must have seen the hunger and the desire, but she went for it. And I post-dated a check. I said, it'll be good. I will call you tomorrow. Here's my phone number. And that's what I did. So I went home and I told my husband, watch these 2 kids. I'm not coming out of this room for 3 days. I wrote down some things about this presentation and I'm going to do something and I'll tell you about it later. Speaking to my husband today about this, Kim, he said, I remember that day, how you came home and your eyes were dilated and you were completely walking on some kind of cloud. And I knew that I had to leave you alone. So he did. So 3 days later, I began pre-selling. I began pre-selling right away, immediately, knocking on doors. I don't knock on doors. And calling some people that I felt good about because they have the same values as me, like my massage therapist, people like that. And I pre-sold, according to Kim's dialogue on how to do that, because I didn't know how to do that, boxes, not onesie sets, but like a 90-day supply. And I pre-sold about $12,000 worth of that product within about a week. Maybe it was 10 days, Kim. I forget.
Yeah, the wholesale boxes were like $120.
Yeah.
So what I did is I gave her a box. They were orange boxes, and in the box was a 3-month supply. So what we worked out is she would go door to door through her entire trailer park, every single one of them, and tell them, get this and give me a check for 3 months supply. Y'all get this? She was not selling a 1 month supply. I told her and everyone near me, do not sell a 1 month supply of anything. If that's what you're doing, you're basically asking for it to fail. If you think somebody's been living 45, 50 years, eating crap food, drinking crap drink, having a crap basic life in terms of sleeping, energy, all the things they do, by many of which they're not even aware of. And you really think that a little pill, a supplement, you know, some kind of a little OBD or CBD, you think that's going to change their whole life in a month? No. You want to change your life? I do. All right, 3 months. That's it. You got to buy 3 months supply. Not only that, I want to know that you took it every single day. Somebody's going to call you. Did you take it? Did you take it? Did you take it? Did you take it? Why? To be sure it works. Why? So you get results. Why? So you change. Because once the little pilitos make a difference, you're going to start going number 2 again. You're going to start walking up the stairs. You haven't walked up the stairs in, you know, how long? Pretty soon you're going to carry your own kid upstairs again, like what happened to my programmer. You start walking up and down the stairs at work instead of taking the elevator. All these things change over 90 days. And then you start to eat differently and you start to watch different programming. And that is how one little pill or 2 taken over a significant, like 90 days minimum with somebody hovering like a mother, not for the money, but for the change, for the change. That's what you want, see? Because pretty soon they can lift themselves up and do it without you. So you're really that starting point, you see? That's what we were looking to do. That's why we tell them 90 days. We don't need the money. We'll be all right. But if you don't do it 90 days, nothing's going to change. You're going to stay exactly the way you are. Slow, tired, poor, and sick of yourself every single night, every morning, right? So the boxes were 120 bucks, and we had her get checks from people. And I think she sold about, like, I don't know, about 98 of those boxes, something like that.
Yeah, it was close to 100. And I follow up because I said, I'd like your feedback because I'm going to be doing this too and testing it with you.
Right.
Feedback. So there's no pressure. I just want your feedback. Oh, cool. So can I check on you in a couple of days, see how it's going? And that's what they did. Out of that experience, 5 or 6 of them that really were into that kind of thing said, I really like this. So I told them, you know, we're looking to bring it to the Bay Area. You want to be a part of that? And out of that came big orders. I mean, like bulk supply, like you'd buy a bulk supply because they had a clientele or whatnot. And it launched me up to the top commissionable position within 2 weeks.
So what we did is she brought all these checks. She says, Kim, I did it. I did it. I did it. I showed you. Here it is. And so she opens up her bag and she has, I don't know, like dozens of these checks. So what we did is we put them all into the bank and placed an order with the company for Vic for that initial order, which allowed her to hit that top position. That was like $5,000 worth of stuff she had to get of product. That's what everybody got, $5,000. And then anytime she sold one, she'd make 1,200 bucks. But you had to get to that position. Today, they do the same thing. When you get, it's like wholesale buying. There's nothing wrong with this idea. It's totally fine. The more you buy at one time, the cheaper it's going to be. If you buy one candy bar, it's going to be, I don't know, $1. But if you buy a box of 12, it might be like 70 cents each. You all get that? You see how that works? Say yes. Make sure we got a yes in there. Right? So the more you buy at one time, the more of a discount that you get, and then you sell onesies. So that is what she did to make that work. And then she went a little bit further. This was based on her the urgent want that she had, right? Remember, she comes in living in this situation, 3-day notice, hid the notice, her hubby's unemployed. He lost 20,000 that they didn't pay him. You're out of time, right? The 3-day notice, what are we going to do here? What are you looking for? She's looking for options. And that is what your people are looking for. It may be what you're looking for, options. Give me some options before I choke, right? In terms of how to build your own business. And then, but she's going to go check it out in case, right? So we know there's pride in here, all these good qualities. And then she has all this. She didn't know the company name. She was a juicer already, right? So you look at these criteria and you will see that there are things in here that represent qualities based on the deeds that she did that we can use and will use in the future for writing ad copy. instead of talking about, oh, you can make $1 zillion, you know, I mean, who, if you do that, what happens is that you get the people like that. Those are the people that you get. See, that's kind of the problem with that. And if easy come, easy go. So when you say to somebody, oh, you know, you can make 10 grand, that's really easy to do. Just come do this. Do you think that she would have responded if I had said that? You can make an easy 10 grand a month. And if you don't think that she would have responded, why would she not have responded to that type of a pitch? Who can tell me that? Everybody I know, oh, buy this product, you're going to lose 10 pounds. Buy this product, you can make money easy. All you have to do is talk to 3 people. That's what the whole industry does today. They've done it 30 years. Why would it not have worked with Vic? Look at her story. See what happened to her? Well, she came to check it out. If anybody's coming to check out your deal and you start with, it's easy to make 10 grand, what have you just told them? Her husband had earned 20 grand and the company went belly up. She just went through a lot of money that they were promised and it didn't come to them. You see? So you're looking for, in her case, it was kind of like, well, if it's another one of those things where they're promising a lot of money, it's probably going to be a scam. It probably will be like that deal where my husband lost 20 grand. So probably I should find something else. Would you say, Vic, that would be the case?
Absolutely. 100,000%. Yeah, I would have turned around and walked away if I heard it was easy and you could get rich quick.
You see that?
I would not have done it.
Yeah, we really have to give people a lot more credit than we give them credit for, you know? And then she got these bulk orders that followed. Now, something else happened to her, and that's something that we're going to share with you. We've never really shared this publicly before, but it has to do with the second level of wanting that drives people to go distances that they never even thought they would go. All right, so here's what happened next, because it didn't really stop there. She connected with what we call the lost want. Now that's different than the urgent want. A lost want is something that is usually buried inside of somebody. Once in a while, we see their lost want. Elon Musk going to Mars. He's dreamed about that since he said, a child. Jeff Bezos going to outer space. He said he dreamed about that with his little brother since they were like 7 years old. They've had those dreams. They were deep down, and 40 years later, they had a chance to express them, right? But for many of us, we have these lost wants, and we don't really know where they went. All we know is they're covered with a lot of garbage. You know how we have garbage brain. Why? Bad news, bad politics, movies, crime, bad information that we're putting into our eyes and ears and mouths. And pretty soon there's basically like a dumpster up above your eyeballs instead of a brain, with all the crap that we constantly bombard ourselves with our gadgets and our screens, right? And people and dogs and trains and whatnot. So there's a lost want. How many of you believe someplace inside of you there is a lost want, which if it ever came out could make you a world changer? How many of you think that you have one of those in you, that you everybody was given one of those? A lost want that if it were uncapped would just blow like a big oil gusher. Who thinks that? That they've got that in there someplace? Who thinks they're just empty? They haven't got a thing. God picked them out and said, you know what? You got nothing. Does anybody feel like that? Okay. So a lost want is something that's deeper down. And when it gets uncapped, it's like an oil gusher that cannot be stopped. You got it? So what happened next is that she did some things because of that lost want. So tell what the want was and how it was stimulated by this activity. By the way, her urgent want doesn't have to be connected to her lost want. It happened to be this time, but it doesn't have to be. You can have trouble with the kids at school and kick them out, and it's not attached to anything deep lost want inside of you. You still take action, right? But in this case, it happened that they matched. So then what happened?
So I've got this youth ministry background. I always wanted to save people. I mean, I just wanted to lift people up and make their life shiny, make their eyes shine, make them shine.
Yes.
And Secondly, I believed in network marketing, but not the way I saw it being done. And when
So she, notice what she says, I always wanted to help someone. What did you say, Shine?
basically want to, you know, look for the shiny in somebody's eyes and lift them up, save them somehow, do something that.
So she wanted to save people. You must have been religious.
I'm religious. Everything I do is to save somebody. Here, eat this, drink this juice. It's to save their cells. Everything.
How many of you have that feeling that you want to save or rescue somebody from something? Anything. Just have that feeling that you really like doing that. It's like saving people, rescuing people. You like that? Does anybody else have that besides? But she's somebody who wanted to save people. Okay, that is a want of hers that's way down deep. So then what? How did this?
And then when I met Kim, I thought, here's a person that's not doing network marketing the normal way. She's doing it in a weird way. And I had this idea that network marketing was really quite toxic, but it was meant to do good and save people, but it wasn't. And I thought, this person that is I'm going to be her student, she's going to save the industry. That was just what went through my head. She's going to help save the industry. And that actually became more of my obsession than what we were marketing, that I want to help save the industry because it can do great good and it can do great harm, just like religion. And the truth is, that's why I'm still here, because I think the industry needs help and we need to give it some shine back. And I think she's the one that I picked because it was like God said, I'm gonna give Vic what she wants finally. I'm gonna shine on her and I'm gonna show her favor. And this is the teacher she needs. And that's the truth. I have not told anybody it to this level today, as I'm saying now. So I feel like I'm helping save the industry by doing this work alongside Kim, who's doing network marketing differently. Doesn't matter what the other vehicle is. The values are the same, similar.
And we have built 4 different companies to the top of the pay plan faster than anyone else with the strategies that we've devised, looking always first for the kinds of people that we think we can help, right? Because if you are constantly worried about how you look and how you talk and how you sound, and you're completely full of fear, we probably aren't the best place for you right now. But if you think you've got something on the ball and you probably have some kind of, I mean, let me ask you this. How many of you kind of know what to do to build your business? Because you kind of have an idea what you're supposed to do, but you don't do it. Say me, if that's you. How many of you know kind of what to do, but you're not doing it? And you can say, why aren't you doing it? I don't know. I was too busy. You know, I got carried away, or I didn't have anybody to talk to, or you know what to do, but for some reason or other, you're not doing it. And I have dealt with this for, oh my gosh, almost 30 years, because we had a lot of people in our business who wanted the outcome, but they didn't do anything. But we knew they were not lazy. See, I've never believed that people are lazy. For the most part, Americans in particular, the Westerners, are very productive, very industrious. We may do a lot of things that waste time, but for the most part, you don't see people just sitting around all day. They're always doing something. It may not be effective. It may not be the right thing. It may not be very good, but they do a lot of stuff. So it isn't laziness. And I've never believed in mindset the old way, ever. That's why I don't teach mindset. Why? Because the word is set. There's no such thing as a set. Your mind has to be like water flowing. And when it sees a rock, it just goes around. It doesn't stop and say, oh, rock, you SOB, let me beat on you. It just goes around and keeps right on going, as if it didn't even notice. And when you have a lost want that's in there, but it's covered up by all the news and the politics and all the small stuff that makes our mind really dumpsters, that power, that like the uncapped oil well, is not going to be set free. And you'll be working with that 10% of your mind. So I thought, you know, what could I do to help people who know what to do, but they can't make themselves do it? Because we know it's about thinking, but it's not a set. we decided maybe it's a missing lost want that we need to find. And so we've done this experiment over the last 6 or 7 weeks, and with people that we showed them how to find that. And it's an example, it's like what happened with Vicky. She used to be a youth pastor. She used to be all these things, and all of that came out. She's basically a missionary on steroids. For people who are missionaries on steroids, there could not be a better business than network marketing. When I was a kid, I went to Bible camp for, 7 years. I used to recite Bible verses in church. I'm not very churchy right now, but that's what I did. 100 verses per week. And one summer I did 100 verses and they gave me a week. The next summer, I said, great, I can do 200 verses. I would say 200 verses. And I got all the way to 6 weeks. And when it was time for me to get up and recite my 600 verses, the church minister and somebody in the choir said, look, we know she knows how to do it. Let's not sit and listen to all this. Just give her the 6 weeks. And I got to go to camp for 6 weeks. I had all the verses ready. Believe me, I knew them all. I know all those books. I could say them backwards and forwards, still big sections, right? So I was a missionary type. So to me, to help people get better in some way or other has been a very driving force. So if you are a missionary sort, this is the most wonderful industry short of being a preacher, but this pays a lot more than being a preacher. How many of you have some missionary in you, but you don't have any reason to save anybody because you don't know who to save, because you don't even know what turns you on, right? So that's a kind of person that helps for you to be a missionary sort. There are other sorts that also make giantly good network marketers, people who are big drivers and team builders. See, in our industry, you got two kinds of people. Who has heard the statement that it's a lot of people doing a little? Network marketing is about a lot of people doing a little. Who's heard that? Let me hear. Yes or no? Right? Do you want to be one of those people? That's a lot of people doing a little? Yes or no? Is that who you want to be? Or do you want to be one of the handful of drivers who drive hundreds and thousands of people forward? What do you want to be? Do you want to be a driver? Or do you want to be one of the ones that a lot of people doing a little? You cannot be a driver if your mindset is a lot of people doing a little, which is all you're going to have in your head if it's full of crap. If you have a garbage dump, a dumpster mind from news, from politics, from what you put into your mind, there's no room left. The lost want can't even come up. So what we do, we have a class for people that have an interest in that. In fact, I'll tell you a result for Vic that she doesn't tell very much, but I'll tell for her. That company that we're the first one where she came in, we went to the top of that. I don't know, less than 6 months. Usually we got to the top of everything in less than 3 or 4 months that I ever did, ever in this business. Because why? Because I'm a missionary. That's why. I pick stuff where I can be a missionary about it. And then I go ape. And then I find other key player missionaries. Then all the little ones come free. I never had to bring in any little players. Do you get that? Jesus started with 12 and now look, plus he had a frontline Pukey. Now granted, it's been a couple of thousand years. You don't have 2,000 years, but we have a lot of time condensed stuff, like with Zoom. They didn't have Zoom. They didn't have Facebook. They didn't have any of that. They had to go walking place to place. That's what they did. You see? So she hit the top spot in the company with us, of course. And John B., the CFO of that company, said that she was one of the only true rags to riches success stories in that company's 25-year history. That's what, and they put her picture, they have a Hall of Fame, and her picture is right there as that person. That's what happened. You see? So if we're looking for people who want to be drivers, who have never been a driver, who want to be obsessed, who want to help hundreds and thousands of people, and where the last thing you think about is what somebody says about you. So who here wants to learn how to do that? Would like to learn how to do that? Say yes. Let me say, oh, yes. So we have a summer school. We call it a Lost Want Summer School. The Lost Want part of it is a really special arrangement that is a separate piece. And so there's some people that are going to want to do that separately. But for people that are not part of our summer school program or part of the big school program, you can talk to Vic after and see if you want to do this. If you're somebody who wants to be a driven missionary in your business, because you know that what you've got can help people and you really want it doesn't matter what it is. That's what it is. Now, you may also be like a John D., a Rockefeller, who says, you know, I could be the person who stabilizes the American population that have trouble with debt. And I could be the one that would give 10 or 20% of those people get rid of their debt problems in a way they never dreamed possible. That's another way that you could bring hope and good to other people. Because if you can bring hope and inspiration and change to the lives of other people, you will never be poor, never. Look at Elon. What's he done for you personally? Nothing. But countless people are going, oh my God, we might go to the moon. When JFK went to the moon and said, we're going to send a man to the moon, and they finally did in the 60s, how did that help anybody at home? Did it make anybody richer? No. But it gave everybody hope and a purpose and a dream and something to live for, to be excited about, for being human, that we could go on this venture together. When you want to be that sort of person, it doesn't matter what you touch, because you will only touch what you can get behind. And when you do that, you're unstoppable. And that's, you know, that's going to be who we're looking for the venture we're doing. But it's also something that you might want to become in your business. Okay. You wouldn't even notice what other people say, and you help hundreds and thousands of people. If you're up for that, here's what you do. You want to connect with Vic. You can either book with her, bookwithvic.com. One thing about this, you will be doing things differently than you've learned at your company or your upline. How many of you could live with that you're doing things that aren't quite the same? Can you live with that? Yes or no? And you're not going to go and tell your upline or your sideline or your company bosses, we're going to do it differently. We learned something else and you suck. No, don't do that. Say nothing. Let your performance do the talking. When you start generating volume, it's going to go upline. When the first time I did this, we sold so many water filters. My upline said, Kim, they want you to come to Memphis and give a talk. And I said, why? Why should I give a talk? And they said, because you sold more water filters and you don't have any recruits, because I didn't know to recruit people in the beginning. I was just a customer person. You know, we sold hundreds of them. Said they never saw anybody sell so many. So they want you to come to the convention and tell people how you sold all that stuff. And I said, well, why would they want me to do that? I mean, doesn't everybody sell stuff? Isn't that what you're supposed to do? You're supposed to sell stuff, right? Because I'm in real estate. We sell stuff. We lease stuff, we buy stuff. That's what you do. He said, no, they don't really do that over there. You know, so they want you to come tell what you did. So I was amazed. So I went to Memphis. In fact, New Orleans was my first one, and told them all how we sold, I don't know, $90,000 worth of filters, these $120. In fact, they happened to be $120 or $40, just like the fruits and veggies and capsules were. And of course, we sold house filters, and we sold shower filters, and we sold sink filters, and under the sink filter, we sold, you know, we had trucks going out every week, pickups with my college students, you know, to deliver them all. That's what we did. But then when you start recruiting and you become like Jesus, where you have fellows and advocates and disciples of the mission, right? Doesn't have to be the company's, it can be yours, your own. When I started doing all that volume, all my upline said, what is she doing? Oh my God, come to the whole company and tell us all what you're doing. So you don't talk before you do anything. You do the thing. Do you see this? And get the power and the impact. Why? Because without me knowing it, all this volume was going up, and to the top person, Jeff said, what are you doing to sell all that stuff? Why don't you come and tell us all? Where have you hiding your light under the bushel? It's like, I thought you were supposed to sell stuff. Isn't that what you do? And in 25 years, they said nobody had ever sold so much stuff, or since, in such a short period of time, so many units without buying dozens of units at a time as a recruiter, as a distributor. Then I started recruiting. That was really good. Then we really hit it out of the park. Yeah. Ooh, that was hot. Because we had 2 or 3 people. You don't need dozens. You need 2 or 3. Think Jesus, 12. Now look. Okay. All right. So that's what I have for you. And I hope this has been helpful so that you get some idea of what it takes to build something. And if you feel like if somebody could dig out and help you dig out what that lost want of yours is, if you believe you have one somewhere in there that you were not denied, you didn't get passed over, that you got one too, but it's been filled up all your life with all the no's, all the negatives. Oh no, you can't do this and you can't do that. And now we have all the negative news, all the negative politics. Everything's negative, 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 or scary, or ugly, or noisy. And you want to take all that out long enough to see, oh, this is what, and then you become and you bloom and blossom into that thing and spread the word to other people. And you take your little light and use it to light the lights of other people who are right now where you are right now and where you were before you started this program. Because when you're done with it, you should have it. And then you can use it to light the next person and help make their life better on every level. Does that make sense?
I hear from people all the time, oh, I can't do this and I can't do that and I can't do this. It's not the resources, it's your obsession and being hooked up to your values, because it's amazing how the imagination opens up and dumps things into your head, your ideas, your heart, your head suddenly connect and things come out of the woodworks to kind of help you. So I think make the choice first of how you want to be in your obsession and then let the magic come.